Hello friends, welcome to Biju Guys Teaching Cafe. This is a short video lecture on the theme Characteristics of Behavioralism. So friends, as we already know, behavioralism has been an intellectual movement, a protest movement within political science. But there is considerable confusion existing about the real meaning of behavioralism. There has been different approaches, different interpretations about what is behavioralism. So different perspectives exist, different kinds of ideas exist, different writers have commented different things about behavioralism. So an agreeable commentary on behavioralism is very difficult to propose. That is the reason why writer Dwight Waldo has once remarked that behavioralism was not and is not a clear and firm creed, an agreed upon set of postulates and rules, because there are so many interpretations and perspectives about what exactly is behavioralism. So behavioralism was a sort of protest movement against the inadequacies, against the ineffectiveness of classical or ancient methodologies of political science. And this protest or intellectual movement within political science was led by American political scientists. So they were highly dissatisfied with the achievements of conventional political science because it failed to predict and analyze some important turning events that shaped the history of the modern world. So there was considerable dissatisfaction. So behavioralism therefore demanded that there should be some shift within political science from its emphasis on studying the ideas like ideal state, ideal government, ideal citizen, ideal institution, to the day-to-day political realities of individuals. That said, behavioralists will tell you that a student of political science should study the dynamic social forces that shape the actual behavior of individuals in situations. That is, why people commit crime, why violence in society, why there are discrimination, why racial discrimination, why ethnic diversities in society, why there are gender oppressions in society, why there is inequality in the society, how social classes are being formed. See, these are the kind of questions being raised in the political science by behavioral political scientists. So, behavioralism has made individual as the center of their study. Individual is being considered as the center of political phenomena. Earlier, it was not the situation. So human behavior, the motives for their behavior, or what incentivizes people for a particular kind of action, these should be studied. These are the important things a political scientist should study according to the ideas of behavioralist. So behavioralism stresses the special importance of scientific outlook and objectivity, that political science should be objective, that those who are going to study political phenomena should be objective. There should not be biased, there should not be any kind of personal considerations, there should be ethically free, value free. So behavioralism rejects ethical values in the kind of research you are going to conduct. That something like, if you are the idea that if you are a feminist, the kind of research you will undertake will have your own personal bias. So if you are a misogynist, likewise when you go to study the problems of women, your misogyny will be reflected in your study. So political scientists in the behavioral movement argued that true research should be value free. Your personal biasness should not reflect in your study. That is called objectivity. So values cannot be studied, and it cannot be scientifically tested, it cannot be objectively studied. So values should be kept away from political studies. Instead, behavioralists argue that a value-free pure science, an action science. So they emphasize on empirical data. Empirical data can be arrived after a lot of objective and scientific investigation. Method of collection of data is very important according to behavioralists. So some scholars even regard that behavioralism was not an approach. It is rather a methodological revolution in political science. That is, it was an attempt to make political science a real science, make political science a natural science, make political science more scientific and more objective, authentic. So, in order to be an expert in behavioral methods, a political scientist should certainly possess sound knowledge in statistics and mathematical models. That is what behavioralists argue. Examples of analytical models are plenty in behavioral movement. For example, David Easton has proposed an input-output model. This is a very complicated analysis. He brought some scientific techniques into social research, political research, and made political science more a predictable science. Or Gabriel Almeida has proposed a structural functional analysis. That was also a very complicated type of analysis. Or Carl Duch has proposed a cybernetics model for political analysis. These were all developed in behavioral movement. There was another approaches like game model in political science. There are communication theories in political science. So different models of analysis have been developed by different behavioral political scientists. So in this method, of analysis, a political science researcher developed first a research design, that a plan for conducting research, and he or she will collect data according to the design of this study. So he has to propose a design first and collect data according to the demands of that design. So it's somewhat a very complicated, very scientific, systematic study. So the political behavior of an individual is very important, and an individual is the part of the total social behavior of all the individuals. So in order to get a proper understanding, a modern researcher in political science has to take the help of various other social sciences, that is interdisciplinarity in political science. So a good political scientist should source theories from sociology, history, economics, anthropology, and other important social or behavioral sciences. Because knowledge is not isolated thing. Knowledge is interconnected. There are linkages between knowledge. For example, if you take the case of water, water is some kind of substance in the chemistry lab, but water is very complicated thing in the social science lab. In chemistry lab, it is H2O. But when it comes to social science lab or political science lab or economics lab or sociology lab, you see water becomes very complicated because there are differences, there are opinions, there are violence, wars, battles, disagreements over water. If you go to North India and the Gangetic plain, Ganges is a river, but it is just a river for the chemist in his or her lab. But Ganges is such a complicated idea for a believer. Someone who have faith in Hindu mythology, Ganges is something, that was deep rooted implications in the life of an individual in India. So see, look how water resurfaces in different form and shape in different social localities. That is just some chemical compounds in the chemistry lab, but when it comes to society, water becomes such a complicated thing. That's why behavioral movement advocate that there should be some kind of linkages between different science disciplines. So you have to collect methods from anthropology, sociology. That's why sociologists and anthropologists like Emily Durkheim, Malinowski, Talcott Parson, Edward Shills have influenced theory building in political science. So the modern behavioral political science scientists have started studying the works of all these famous sociologists and anthropologists, and they have sourced their methods and data interpretation methods to the realm of political science, and they developed behavioral political scientists developed their own method of analysis, sourcing tips from anthropology and sociology. So they integrated political science with other social science disciplines. So the main aim of behavioral political science was to propose or to build a scientific political science. So therefore, political science according to behavioralists need observation, experimentation, a good methodology. So according to behavioralists, a good methodology may be able to predict things in advance, and they can propose universally valid theories. For example, you see, you can talk about people's mood by seeing how people participate in demonstration and protest. For example, there is a protest. You can just watch the protest, or you can understand and feel the mood of people by participating in the protest movement. Thereby you can collect data. You can collect data in different ways. So you should get involved in the issue being studied. That is what behavioralists say. So you go to the field, collect data, observe it, find pattern and propose theories. This was something different from the classical way of doing political science. Clear? So friends, this is a small and very brief lecture about the characteristics of behavioralism. What are the main points to be studied under the title, the features or the characteristics of behavioral movement in political science, or how behavioral movement is really applied in political analysis. Friends, if you have any questions or doubts or comments, please drop a line to my YouTube channel in the comment box. Thank you. Bye.